it's Tap In with T-Vish and Miss Dean Network. Oh, man, and we got the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, man, Freeway Ricky Ross, what's up with you, man? Oh, man, what's going on?
Man, it's all good. It's all good. I can't complain at all. Life is wonderful.
Man, there's so much to talk to.
We honored to have you here.
Honored to have you. Real legend. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
For sure.
Oh, man, we love to give our flowers up early, man. You really did a lot for the culture, man, and put down roots. California did your thing. Man, first off, I want to say Freeway Ricky Ross. How you get the name Freeway Ricky Ross?
Man, that's a long story. I stayed by the freeway when I was growing up, and in our neighborhood was quite a few Ricks. You know, there was a silver tooth Rick, a fat Rick, and I became Rick that stayed by the freeway.
Ain't that son?
But you know,
I never guessed that.
I heard that before. Your name is so famous because we have a rapper named Freeway.
Yeah.
Then we have a rapper named Rick Ross.
Yeah.
I mean, you so much of a legend that two rappers split your name up and used them. You know what I'm saying?
See how many fingers I got up?
Yeah. 4.
That's 4 rappers have used my name.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You know, we have Freeway Rich out of Kansas City who had got to be pretty popular too down in that area. He's called Rich the Factor now.
Yeah. I'm hip to Rich the Factor.
And out of Cincinnati, it was the Freeway Boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then you got Freeway from Philadelphia Free, and you got
that's my man.
Right. Then you got Rick Ross.
I want to ask a couple questions, but I think everybody, with that reaction, I think you didn't kind of say it all.
I'm going to say this. I know it got to be hard for you with a man wearing your name, making money off your name, and wearing your name. I was just talking to my wife. This is my wife right here. I was just talking to her before we started. I said, man, if somebody took my name and made money off of it, and that would be hard for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it when you think about it's fucked up, you know, especially when he's done so well with the name.
Yeah.
And he had a decency to reach back. You know,
is that the big part about it though? Not to cut you off, but is that the big part? Because a lot of people do this sometimes. You know, like they'll take a song, they'll take a name, but they always pay homage to the big homie. Is that where the problem lies? Is it the lack of respect and communication?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, respect is everything. You know how many people gotten killed because they disrespected somebody? You know, I just come from talking to some of the guys that work on the TV series Snowfall. Yeah. And you know, I got a new podcast called After the Snow where I've been analyzing the show. And I see him doing a lot of violent stuff in the show but with no purpose. And what I've learned through my life is that most of the people in the ghetto that get killed, it was because they disrespected somebody. It might have been over $1, but it wasn't about the money. It was
facts.
It was the disrespect,
right?
And in our neighborhood and in our community, you know, we're really high on respecting and disrespecting. So,
how do you feel about hip hop? Because I asked you this because hip hop likes to mimic your real life a lot. So how do you feel about hip hop?
Well, you know, I love hip hop. It's a little disappointing though, you know, because when I fell in love with hip hop, you know, I fell in love with dudes who we call street poets, like Sugar Hill Gang. You know, they were really talking about what was going on in the hood, and now, you know, it's like who can sell the most dope, who can shoot the most people, you know, who can knock off whose girlfriend the most times and how many people girlfriend. You know, it wasn't about the disrespect back then. And now, and I just got finished talking, and this is not there's something that I plan to talk about disrespect, but there's so much disrespect in hip hop right now. It's all
Mm-hmm.
who can disrespect the most people, who can be the most what's the word I'm looking for?
Ignorant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good word. So I don't listen to hip hop at all.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me, "Do you have a favorite?" No, I don't have a favorite rapper. Um, I don't know. It's just not there. It's not something that I feel is attractive or something that I would want my kids to participate in.
Right.
It's unfortunate though, because it's so big in our culture. But I understand where it's so much corruption and so much just misguidance throughout the music that makes you want to just, I can't. At some point, you disconnect. So
Exactly.
I get exactly where you're coming from.
Man, I got so many questions.
So wait, let's dig into this though.
Go ahead.
So you speaking on big on respect. You were born and raised in Los Angeles, California?
Right.
No, I was born in Texas. I moved to California when I was like 3 years old, maybe 4.
Okay. So for the most of your life, majority of your life, you was basically California.
I'm Californian all the way.
Right.
Okay. And so around this time,
you know that song, I love LA.
What they say, what Pac say, to live and die in LA.
No, we don't want to die. No, we
don't want to die.
No, we don't want to die. We just want to live.
You just want to live.
I want to live. When I was in jail, I was doing a lot of soul searching, and people talk about dying, and I say, no, I don't want to die. I want to live. I want to save lives. I want to keep people living. I don't want to kill nobody. I don't want to be a part of no killing. I want to be a part of saving lives, of uplifting and building and rehabilitating.
But you know what? I'm not really surprised to hear you say that, because you was a hustler. You was hustling. A lot of people that's trying to get to the money ain't really trying to get to the mess. And I feel like that's also the misconception between a lot of people. They feel like you gotta be the toughest, but really it ain't no money in being the toughest.
No, it's not. It's not. You're gonna get a lot of knots and bruises.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
Those I don't want. I don't want knots and bruises. Hey, give me love and affection.
Right, I feel that, and I respect that.
Now we did our research on you. They say you the richest black man that ever did any organized crime. You know what I mean? Ever. They got you as that. But
let's just take that in for a minute. Like, that's crazy to me. I ain't even gonna lie. Like that. When I looked at the numbers, I was like, man, it was hard. If I would have knew, but I knew, no, I'm just funny.
I had a young attorney that used to hang out with me every day. Smart as hell. His name is Antonio Moore. He did a thing on the Super Bowl as well. I mean, he's just crazy with numbers and research. And what he told me is that in 84, 85, when I had my best days, that I could have been the richest man in America. That I was taking in more money on a daily basis than Walmart was taking.
And now that just hit me on a different level, because now that was then.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's like Mansu Musu. You hip to him? Over in Africa, he was like the richest man that ever walked the earth. But they don't really talk about him over here because they don't share that light of us being kings and queens. They like to share us as being slaves and servants. But
Absolutely.
I think that's amazing, to be honest.
But see, I got a question in this. So you a man that grew up in Los Angeles, California, and you end up running a business that make more money than Walmart at the time. I mean, what was your mind state? Did you want to get that big? Did you want to do it like that, or what? Well, how did this happen?
When I started, I wanted $5,000.
What?
I wanted.
Quit playing. You was lying. Quit playing.
No, I had never saw any money. I never had $300.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all I wanted was a pair of wheels for my car and a paint job on it and some new interior. That's all I wanted. And I felt $5,000 would do that for me.
Uh-huh.
I thought that I would be living in my mom's garage all my life. I mean, I was perfectly happy living in her garage. You know, I had a bed in there and I had a TV, and the homies could come by and kick it all day, and you know, we could sneak some girls in through the back window. So like, this got to be heaven.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. You know, that's all I wanted out of life. You know, but one thing I can tell you about money is money buys you knowledge. You know, if you don't have no knowledge, you start. Well, you know this. Can you hear me? We back?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear
we
you
can hear
now.
you now.
Yep.
You know we on the hotline, so this thing don't play.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So money buys knowledge. All the way around. You know, I tell people, if you want to be smart, you need some money, because you can't get no books without no money. They don't get them books away. They sell them. They sell information. So if you want information, you have some money.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask that too. I wanted to know. So you talk about how you basically didn't have the huge vision, and over time, grinding, hustling. You, at what point did you realize that it was more out there for you? Like, damn, I'm good at this. Like, I can really take this to a different level.
You know, most people would be surprised to find out that my first $50 worth of cocaine, I got beat out of it. So my first deal, I lost. But what I did understand is that cocaine had value. At first, I didn't know cocaine had a value. But after that deal, I understood that it did have a value. And I knew that I was going to get richer doing it if I wanted to.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So you wanted $5,000. Let's go back to that. You wanted $5,000. What made you almost make $1 billion before you quit? I mean, like, what point is like, you ain't never like, I always like to ask people that did what you did, you ain't never get to a point where it's like, man, I can just quit. I'm good. I got enough.
Well, you know what? I thought about that many times, you know, because that question's been asked to me so many times. You know, like they say, how could a person who couldn't put gas in his car when gas was 50 cents a gallon, then he has millions of dollars and he don't quit? Well, what I found out is that I had made up my mind that I should go to prison and pay for my crime. I really felt that selling drugs was wrong, and that I should go to prison, and I found out that I couldn't quit until after I went to prison. So that's the moral of the story. That's not what I was thinking consciously.
Yeah.
But once I sit in prison and I started writing my book and I started thinking about my life, see, it was times that I would ask my girlfriends, was they gonna run for me when I went to jail? And this is before I'm not in I've never been in a police car. I hadn't been indicted, but here I am asking my girlfriends, what was they gonna do when I go to jail? So what I learned about the mind is that we have a thing that we call the subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind, it works almost like a magnet, and whatever you think you want, it'll bring it to you. And I learned that in prison. So unconsciously, I wanted to go to prison, but consciously, I didn't. You know, I was afraid of prison. You know, I'm telling myself to do all the things you can to stop from going to prison, but in the back of your mind, you're always thinking about prison.
Yeah.
Well, whatever you think about the most is what you're gonna get. And I found out that by me thinking about so much about prison, brought prison to me.
And even since we're talking about prison, I mean, you were sentenced to life, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was that with the death penalty? That was a death penalty, was it?
No,
that was just life, right? Okay. I mean, how did you handle that? At what point did you realize, like, this is real for me? Like, how did you handle that? What was that experience like for you? Being this man, you at the top of the top, you got to sit down, and not only do you have to sit down, they hit you with one of the harshest penalties that a person could take.
Well, what I did while I was in prison is I thought about what was going on. The first 6 months, you know, I was kind of in shock. You know, I never been to jail before, so it's like, wow, I can't move. You know, I got to sleep by myself now. You know, I'd never been used to sleeping by myself. You know, I've always been used to sleeping with a woman. So it was a shock to me. But as I got used to it, my mind started to turn, and then I started to want to compete. You know, I started reading about other men that was making money outside of selling drugs, because I decided that I could never sell drugs again, because I knew that if I ever sold drugs again, I was gonna get exactly what I had right then. The end of the rainbow for a drug dealer is prison. Some gold handcuffs. That's what he gonna get at the end of that rainbow, or death. You know, you're lucky if you get handcuffs. So after I figured that out, I said, you know what? You got to make a change. You got to do something different. So what I did is I started to study, because I wanted to compete with guys like Russell Simmons, Bill Gates, Master P, Puff Daddy. You know, when I would see those guys in the magazine making all that money, then I started to say, well, man, I can compete with those guys, even from prison. And I started to try to figure out what could I do in prison that they couldn't do. And I started working toward those goals. And it started with law books, you know, where I would read my case. An older guy had told me when I was in prison, he said that you should never let anybody know more about your case than you know. And what I took from that is that I should study my case so well that when I went in court, that I could literally tell everybody in the courtroom what should be taking place with my case. And I got that good at doing it.
Wow.
Even though they gave me the life sentence, I told the judge that she was wrong for giving me the life sentence, and going by her own books, she couldn't do it. And she didn't believe me. So after she gave me the life sentence, I told her, I said, oh, well, I'll be back. And she told me, she said, oh, well, I'll be here waiting for you when you come back. And when I came back to her courtroom, she told me, oh, you kept your word.
I think that was probably big. I mean, and then for her being a judge and to hear you say that could have been taken like a form of cockiness instead of educated. Coming from an educated person, you know what I'm saying?
But you know, I won her respect. You know, because she remembered me when I was just starting to read.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was in the courtroom and I'd be trying to read the word and I'd be So, but she saw me where, you know, when I came back to court the last time, I was reading on a college level, and I could exactly what I read. So I had won some respect for her, because she took off 4 years from me off my time that she really didn't have to.
Yeah.
And she gave that to me for my development. You know, she felt that I had developed while I was in prison.
That's amazing.
Man, you so well spoken. When I was doing my research, they like, you know, when you went in, you couldn't read at all. So you taught yourself how to read and all that, huh?
I did. I read over, just for people who know, because, you know, when people see you being successful, they think it's luck. They think it's good fortune. But while I was in prison, I read over 300 books. So the things that people see me doing now, it's not luck. It's not good fortune. It didn't come from heaven. This come from me reading day in and day out, really, really trying to learn what the books were saying, what the meaning was, and I credit that to my success right now. And the success that I'm having right now is not even near what it's going to be. I haven't even been able to really express the things that I've learned from reading some of those books. And when I add those books with my prior experience as a street hustler, because I don't look at myself as a dope dealer, because a dope dealer, he can only sell dope.
Yeah.
But a hustler, he can hustle almost anything.
Yeah.
And that's why I have so many businesses right now. You know, books, T-shirts, weed, trucks, cars, clothes, motivational speaker, movie, TV series, documentaries. I'm getting ready to sign. Hopefully, I get this little rapper signed, who's probably gonna be the biggest rapper in the industry. You know, I'm looking for all these guys who's gonna be talking some sensible stuff.
And I think that's amazing within itself.
That's big.
I think it's amazing. I want to touch this part though, like you said, and I do know you have a book out. What's the name of your book?
Freeway Rick Ross Untold Autobiography and the 21 Keys to Success.
And I think that's amazing. Just that point alone, just going from someone who struggled to read to becoming an author. I mean, you just have been determined to take over anything and everything that you want to pursue.
Still just
and
amazing.
I just think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. You know,
I wanna ask you something.
And not
about,
just an author, not just an author, but I self-published.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah.
You took it to the tip. See, See, you just you was focused on the wrong area at the time, but as soon as you bust them areas open.
Well, let me run this by you though. Let me tell you this here. How easy is it in the ghetto to know who's selling cocaine?
That's
very easy.
Okay. How easy is it to find somebody that can teach you how to do real estate?
Very hard in the ghetto.
In the ghetto, it's hard.
To get somebody to teach you how to be a lawyer in the ghetto.
Very hard. Slim to none.
That
ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're gonna get appointed court lawyer because you're gonna stay in a lot of trouble. That's about it.
You already in trouble then. I'm saying when you're a young kid, never been in trouble, and you want to be a lawyer.
It ain't happening.
How can you learn that in the neighborhood? Who can teach you that? Almost nobody. So what it is that the deck is really stacked against the kids in the ghetto because they don't have anybody to teach them those regular skills. But learning how to sell drugs is readily available. Everybody in the neighborhood can show you where the crack house is or where the you know, it's just so plentiful in our community. The rhino at the liquor store, he can show you where to go get your dope at.
That's
so
true.
when it's so readily available, it's no wonder that that's our kids' first option.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you, I want to pivot a little bit. I want to ask you about Snowfall. So Snowfall, how true to the character Franklin is you? Because I know the story is your story, but it's like, you know how Franklin moved and how he handled his people. Is that how you move? That's how you handle your people? How true is that?
Well, you know, I noticed one thing. Somebody had hit me online. I was doing a live a couple of weeks ago, and they told me to listen to his voice. They said the kid's been studying your voice because he almost has your tones. And I listened to him. I was like, oh my goodness, how close he is to having my tones. I met him in person. We had lunch together one day at Whole Foods. I was sitting at a Whole Foods restaurant eating my lunch, and he walked up and introduced himself. I didn't know who he was because at that time I never watched the show. Nice man. I liked the kid. You know, we had a great conversation that day, and he said that he wished that I was on the set to help, but I know they wouldn't want me on the set. and you know, I've been doing a show called After the Snow. So what you asking me, I perfectly know. In the early scenes, I see a lot of resemblance of me. But in this new series,
damn, I ain't want to know that.
Yeah, but he might have to just log back in.
Let's go get back. Let's see. You always say log in, log out. It might bounce back. Sugar T was doing this.
I don't know. We might be stuck.
You gotta log in and log back out. Cause you froze. Damn. There you go. He got it. Something happened. DC, we lost him.
Yep.
I'm sure he'll log back in.
He'll log back in.
Man, we talking to that nigga, bro. That nigga. You hear me?
I know.
This nigga, more that nigga than all the rappers that rap about it. He did this shit for real.
Yeah, but he made $1 billion.
This shit is amazing. I'm talking to a billionaire. I'm amazed.
I ain't. I'm amazed. I'm talking to DC. I'm amazed.
I'm amazed. I'm rarely ever.
You don't lie to yourself.
I'm rarely ever amazed, but I'm amazed.
I'm amazed that DC is doing this with us, man. I'm amazed.
Me too. Shouts out to DZ.
Shouts out to DC.
Man. Shouts out to these motherfuckers.
Don't butter me up for the negotiations.
You know I'm working on you. Yeah.
This nigga funny as hell.
Same thing, nigga. Don't change nothing. The shit has
Well,
been
my
working.
nigga Fat Joe say yesterday's prices ain't today's prices. He back though.
Really?
I know it's cheaper. That didn't got cheaper. Okay, here we go. We back, but man, we back with the legendary Freeway Ricky Ross. He in the building.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go back to what we was talking
Don't
about.
play the beat. Don't play the beat.
Yeah. So look, we're going back to asking how true is the Franklin character to how you really is? Because everybody, your life is exciting to people, man. People really want to know.
No, it's not exciting to people. It's just exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
I think
It's exciting.
it's just exciting.
It's exciting. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, especially for people, especially for us black folks. You know what I mean? Because we grow up with.
I was in Maryland last night. I went to a Marriott hotel, and I was checking in, and the brother, he had saw my name already. He said, "Man, I saw the name. I never thought it was gonna be you." The brother gave me a discount in the hotel and everything. I mean, black people just like, I can't even explain how they feel about me. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's weird, right? I mean, I love it though. Don't get me twisted. I love it, but they just have so much love for me, man, that sometimes, you know, I wonder, do I deserve it?
I wanted to say this to you, right? I was researching like my bosses and stuff like this one day, just talking. They said every successful family has to have a sacrificed generation. So either they're gonna sacrifice and they're gonna enslave people or something like that, and that's how they got their wealth, or they're gonna sell drugs or whatever they got to do. You know what I mean? They saying if you research every successful family, it was always somebody in there that sacrificed for them to have that. You know what I mean? Right. So I think we celebrate you because you sacrificed. You know what I mean? And you really took it there. You know what I mean? You really did it. You know what I mean? Well, I know sometimes when you the person that had to go to jail and you had to do all that stuff, you probably look at it like, man, what I did wrong. And it's like, you know, like sometimes you got to do wrong to do a lot of good. You're doing a lot of good now. You know what I mean? So that's how we look at it. You know what I mean?
I think people looking at the finished product.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what, though? If they gave us the tools that they give other people, we wouldn't have to sell drugs. You know, but with us, we can't get financing to get our tools. You know, Grandpa, he didn't have no money.
Yeah.
When you look at it, we only a few generations out of slavery.
Yeah. Right. And when you look at this, I want to say this to you too, though. You know, when you go get your medicine, you're going to the drugstore, and people is addicted to these opioids from the doctors that's legally selling drugs. I mean, it's all drugs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really no different. I mean.
Well, the only difference is what he said.
The difference
Mommy
is
had enough money to put him through school, so you could do it legally.
Yeah, that's the only difference. You know what I mean? And,
they got that degree from Stanford that costs $100,000 a year.
Yeah, and you know, and they made it. So I mean, we ain't gonna we've been through the struggle, so we're not gonna look at it as if like, oh, well, this guy did all this wrong. It's like, no, this guy made it through what we trying to make it through. You know what I mean?
Hold on, can I understand this for 1 second too? This off top, but it just because I wanted to ask it before. So you telling me, so you struggled to read and almost made $1 billion?
I couldn't read.
How the hell? How did you do that? Like, how do you even
he knew
do
them
that?
numbers.
I mean, I know numbers,
he
but
knew what. And look,
that just shows us how the system is not set up to deal with young black male or female, really, in the society. Because how are you letting your kids? I mean, you know, some people consider me a genius.
You are.
You know, I've spoken in colleges with professors. You know, I spoke at Stanford University, UCLA, USC, and I spoke to some of the smartest kids in the country, and they were allowing me to teach these kids. So what would have happened if somebody would have took the time out and grabbed me before the drug dealers got a hold to me?
Yeah. You might have been
How-
Elon Musk. You might have been shooting us into space right now. You might have been on Tesla. You know what I'm saying?
How did that happen? Like, you know what I mean? I just want to ask that if you would talk about it. How did you make that connection? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, when you sit there, I thought that I would never be able to read. I thought I was ignorant, dumb, and that reading was just too over my head, too much for me.
Why though? If I can ask you, I'm sorry to compound the question with a question, but why? Was it because of school? Like, what made you even feel like that? Was it the system?
Well, the first thing is if you don't do well in school, you're gonna be labeled a dummy. And that could be other issues why a kid is not doing well in school. You know, he may not relate to the teacher, or she may not relate to the teacher, maybe having problems at home. You know, I've even known kids to not have glasses where they could see and have problems. And if somebody don't catch those problems and fix them, then you'll look up in 4th and 5th grade, this kid can't read, and it seems like the kid is not functionable in school, which we know too that if you're not reading at a certain grade level, they start building a prison cell for you.
I understand that, but my question was, how did you make the connection to blow you up like that? I mean, you're a guy out of California, like you said, you ain't got much money. How did you make that connection?
Well, basically what I did is I practiced what I later found out was compound interest. And we were so poor that if I would have bought a new pair of pants, my mama would have knew it. So what I did is I just stacked all my money. I kept stacking my money, reinvesting it back into the game, and it just kept growing. And I later found out that your money works harder than you work. Like when you go to bed at night, if you invested your money in the right things, your money will keep working. It'll keep growing while you sleep. And it's the same thing with dealing drugs. We're really dealing with anything because, like I said earlier, I'm basically a banker, except I was banking in cocaine.
Yeah. Well,
wait, then let me ask this then, because you talk a lot about how you had to stack your money. I just got to know out of curiosity, what is one of the most expensive purchases that you actually indulged in your lifespan, where you was at the head of your prime of your time?
Did you really buy that plane?
Did you buy the plane? Did you get the boat? Did you get a yacht?
Now, I bought the most expensive thing I've ever bought was a movie theater. I bought a motel. Well, really, I almost had 4 motels. I was in the process of building 4 motels. Those were the most expensive things I bought. I spent my money more on real estate than on cars and planes and clothes. I didn't really care about clothes. I'd rather look like I don't have any money than to look like I have money and don't have it.
I feel that.
Right.
I respect that.
Smart.
I ain't know that.
So you 1985, right? How much a person got to buy to deal with Freeway Ricky Ross?
It really depends on who you were. I mean, if you was one of my homies, you could be buying an ounce, and I would serve you.
That was a fan question, and somebody just wanted some money. Somebody said, "I bet you it's an ounce." Somebody else said a kilo. My guess was 10 keys. So, but that was the biggest question that we had. Like, well, how much? What's the lowest you could cop from Freeway? Like, you know what I mean?
No, but see, I didn't really deal like that. I didn't really care how much it was. It was who it was. You know, I was more of who I'm dealing with than what quantity of dope they bought. Because, you know, if a guy could handle an ounce, I would give him 10 keys.
Yeah. Damn.
Let me turn it so make sure that it don't get too dark in here.
Let me get some. Put that pressure. You said apply that pressure.
That was a question. That was one of the questions that that we had to get. That was one from my daddy. My dad said an ounce, he won. My brother said a key. I said 2.
Oh, geez. It was like Burford. It was like the rightest to the wrongest, the oldest to the youngest. That is so funny.
I can't wait to tell Pops he was right.
He gonna be like, I knew, you know, Pops. I told you, boy. Oh man,
that was crazy.
Man, you was wrong as hell.
So what?
I couldn't get my light to come up, and I don't know what happened to my light. My kids might be
we good. We good.
We can still see.
That was a crazy question, but that was the question we
had.
Crazy.
It was just somebody they want to know. People.
Everybody want to know that.
You gotta tell them what they want.
Everybody want to know that.
Well, you know, I had a little system set up, right? Where I had a house that would sell grams, 1 gram of cocaine, and then I would have another house that would sell half ounces of cocaine, and I have another house that would sell ounces of cocaine, and a house that would sell quarter pounds. So you could graduate from house to house. If you started to do so well at one house, then they would take you to another one.
Yeah. And so this system, you created this infrastructure?
I did.
That's amazing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And wait, if I'm not mistaken, is this gang related? Were you affiliated in a gang at the time? This ain't gang related?
I mean, you could say that I was affiliated to the that I grew up in South Central. I went to school with gang members. I spoke to them, but I didn't participate in the foolishness. You know, I didn't see myself fighting over no street, no color. I didn't get down like that.
Back to the Snowfall, man. Is your mom like Franklin's mom, or that's just something they made up?
I mean, she's similar. You know, I can see some resemblance.
How is everybody still in your life like this?
I mean,
well, you know, they feel that if you ex-offender, then you don't have any rights. And they have the rights to take whatever they want to from you. And you know, the courts kind of obliged to them. You know, when I sued the rapper who stole my name, when we went to court, the judge used to say the drug dealer and the rapper. When we came to the court. So and I didn't think that was an appropriate way to approach me because I hadn't sold drugs in a long time. But you know, that's what she chose to do in her courtroom.
That's crazy, boy. That's crazy, man. So, what about the uncle? The uncle was like, you had an uncle like that?
Nah. None of my older family members participated. My mom never participated in any drugs. Now she was raided. She has been handcuffed and made lay down on the ground, but she didn't participate at all. Now she did spend the money because I used to give her money.
That's what women do, man. That's what the women do.
What about the father? Was the father close to your father? Did that happen with the father telling on the club?
I never really knew my father.
Okay, so all that was fabricated.
Yep.
But for the most part, they pretty much took it, added on to it, but took the meat and potatoes of your life, as some would say, the main dish, the main course.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Sprinkled it with a little,
right.
You know, that's how
I'm not gonna lie to you, Freeway Rick. I don't understand. I can't see how 4 rappers take your name, a production team take your whole life story, and you, the calmest, cool, collective dude about it. It's like you just don't care. It's like you cool. I mean, me, I would be going crazy.
I mean,
well, I got so much more. You know, when you don't have much, you can't give much. You know, I have a lot. I'm in the weed business right now. I run a dispensary.
What's the name of your dispensary?
I haven't named it yet. It's still not open. I'm in the progress of opening up, but I have 2 brands. I have LA Kingpin and Freeway. Both are in stores right now in California and Boston. I'm negotiating deals right now in Ohio and
Hey, if
in
you're from
Arizona.
Ohio, that's where we from.
That's where we from,
Hey.
Ohio. Pull up.
Pull
Brown
up.
8, baby.
What part of Ohio y'all from?
We from Akron.
We from Akron.
Well, you know, one of my fighters is from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's
Sean.
yeah, we know him.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he getting ready to fight on the 25th of this month.
Yeah, that's your fighter. Boy, you got your hand in everything, boy.
You said why he mad. That's why he mad.
That's why he ain't mad.
Yeah, but that was Bashan Champ calling me right there.
Yeah.
Me and him got an interview tonight.
Yeah, I just met it. I met his dad about a year ago on an interview we was doing at the same time. Cause we artists too. We do music and stuff like that. Same chick, 10 million views already. You know what I mean? It's doing well. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but yeah, we met his dad on the interview. We was artists of the month.
You got to bring Bashan on next week before his fight. You know he up there training with Boots.
Okay, well, you got to put that together for me.
You know who Boots is, right?
Yeah, you got to put that together for me.
I got you. I put it together. We can make it happen.
Right, we can make it happen.
I want to say this though. So, with all the experience that you had, going from high to low and reaching back up, rebranding yourself, building yourself with the new tools that you have, I mean, was it worth it? I mean, because you literally have outlived people, and the experience that you have and those moments that you have, was it worth it to you?
Now you saying, was it worth it for me to sell drugs?
Yes.
Yeah. People ask me that all the time. And this one girl out of Chicago, I can't think of her name, but she really summed me up. She summed me up to myself. And in her article, she highlighted it. No regret.
Damn. Oh, man, went down.
I think he's coming back. He got a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people call.
He might be on here. Oh, no, here it is.
Man, I didn't go through with DC after this. This is crazy. DC.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
He's still on. His camera went out. So he didn't stream audio only.
We gotta fight through this one. This one be a rough edge. There we go. Oh,
we got him back.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
We got him back.
Ooh.
Bashan keep calling me. I'm supposed to do another interview with him tonight on some station or some podcast. So
okay,
we wrap up.
We'll wrap it up. We know you're a busy man. We know you're a busy man. We know you got a lot going on, so we appreciate your time.
Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll hook up again.
We'll hook up again. And we need to get you this trillionaire. You know, we got the trillionaire
brand.
Because
I got to get this, though. I got to get the answer to that question. I got to know, was it worth it?
Oh, I thought I answered that. Oh.
You cut out.
No regrets, only lessons. I learned a lot of lessons from it. But I wouldn't do it again. If I, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't do it. But like I said, without the money that I made in my life, I wouldn't be able to buy the information that I know right now. So that's the best I can do.
Well, look.
We appreciate it.
Look.
We got the legend himself.
We got the legend, the man, the myth. This is the real Freeway Rick Ross right here on Round 8 podcast with T-Vix and Ms. Dean. Man, we want to say this to you, man. Look, despite everything you did in your life, man, you did your thing. You made money. You helped people. You helped so many people. You did your thing. You did your time for your crimes. Brother, let that stuff go. You're doing amazing things right now to this day. You got a lot of businesses, man, and we respect you, man. We love and appreciate everything you've been doing for us. And man, we just grateful to have you, man. And like, you're a real legend, man. You know, somebody had to do it. You did it. You did your time. And I did want to get one more question in before I did get this off.
What's that?
The guy, your plug, right? They said that the last deal, it was what was it, 100 keys or something like that or something? Huh?
Yep, 100 keys.
Right. 100 keys. They said when he set you up, he was laughing at you, right?
Yeah, he was.
And like as a man and a guy that you made so much money with, like, man, you was laughing at me. It's crazy. Like, how did you feel in that moment? I had to get this. I had to get this question because
heartbroken.
I mean, because when you making money with somebody, at some point you probably feeling like, man, this is my guy.
Oh, no question. But you know the way it works in the feds is the guy that you are making money with, you knocking girls with, is gonna be the guy to get on the witness stand and testify against you.
And this guy, we do our research. We talk to so many people. I mean, you got a life sentence for selling drugs. I mean, I done seen people get 5 years for 19 bodies. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the mob boss that told on everybody. You know what I mean? Then you got the guy that's supplying you with all the drugs. They said he didn't even go to jail.
28 months.
28 months. Man,
8 months for over 10,000 kilos of cocaine.
Do that make you feel like it was the system really against us like that, or did you say, man, I did my crime, I did my time, I ain't no bitterness about it, forget it?
And I feel like the system is not biased. I mean, the system is biased.
Mm-hmm.
Without question.
Yeah, because it was crazy when I heard what's the mob guy's story we were just checking out? What is his name?
Sammy the Bull. Sammy the
Bull.
Bull.
Sammy the Bull. Admitted to killing like how many people? Like 19 people, something like that. Something crazy. Like, I mean, I know that gotta be worse than selling kilos of cocaine. You know what I mean?
Question.
I mean, I would assume.